Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Very glad to have you. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. My name is Patricia here in the United States and most specifically here in Alaska. Welcome. Glad to have you. Today we are on our fourth on a series of 6 cards using the Daisy Garden stamp set. That stamp set is in the May 2021, April 2022. So if it's after that date, it may not, but it might as well, be available. It is Daisy Garden on page 106. The item number is 155079. So that's the set, I can't talk today, that we are using. So we have already done this one. We did both thanks and happy birthday. We have already done this one. I think we did thanks and happy birthday on every one of them. And this one we chose to do a different color. We, meaning me. This one we did thanks and happy birthday again, or thank you and happy birthday. Today we are going to do this card, and that means our next one will be this one. So this is the card that we are making, and here are the parts and pieces that we are going to need. We are going to start with our card base at 5.5 by 8.5. That is half of a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and we are going to, you could score at 4 1/4, but I have gotten, I think I've mentioned this before, in the habit of just matching my corners and folding and using my bone folder to give that a nice burnish. And so that's our card base. Then we are going to have a just Jade piece at 3 3/4 by 3 3/4 because it's a square. The fill-in piece for that we are either going to use, and I haven't decided whether I want to use the Daffodil Delight stamped with Daffodil Delight, or if we want to use, like in the original card, the basic white stamped with Daffodil Delight. But we'll see. We'll figure out which one we want. And this one is 3.5 by 3.5. And then our sentiment piece, this particular one is 3 1/4 by 1 1/4. That doesn't really have to be that size. It depends on the sentiment that you choose. If you choose a larger sentiment, you wouldn't want to use too big because you don't want to cover up your image. But nonetheless, that is determined by the sentiment that you're going to use. So, let's get started on this. And I last time showed you how to use the block as opposed to using, last time being in the last video, as opposed to using the Stamparatus. I still prefer the Stamparatus, and the first video we set that up. Let me go ahead and pull this off and I'll show you again. So what I would do is I take my, in this case, my card front, and I'm going to put it on there 4 blocks down, 2 blocks over, just so that I can put it back in the same place. I have taken out the foam mat that comes with the Stamparatus, and I am going to set the, since I'm setting this up, I'm just going to go ahead and do it this way anyway. You know what? I'm going to move it up to 2 from the top and 2 from the left. How's that? Okay, set that up on there how I want it on my card. By the way, part of the reason that we like using the Stamparatus is because once I've got this set up, I can do 100 cards if that's what I need to do. Maybe I'm doing a wedding card, or I want to do a whole bunch of birthday cards. Whatever it is, then I can set it up in here, and every time, as long as I put that at the 2 down, 2 across, or however I've set it up. I'm going to go ahead and pull a magnet off of here so that I can keep my card where I want it, and it's not going to move around. So again, 2 from the top, 2 from the left, and I'm going to put my first magnet on there. I'm going to go ahead and pull my second out, and the reason I'm putting them over here on the left is because this is plenty away from where it's not going to interfere with, in other words, where my stamp goes. And I'm going to go ahead. You really don't want these two to touch. They could hurt you pretty good if they snap your fingers. Okay, there we go. Now I am going to, in this case, take my Daffodil Delight. Again, if you kind of hold it like the old-fashioned compacts and push the back of that, then swing it over and push it back in. I'm going to ink up. I do want to put my stamp pad under there so that it has something firm to, there we go. Ink that up pretty good and stamp. I'm going to give it some good pressure. I keep moving that. Sorry about that, guys. Give it some good pressure. Notice I'm doing it over to the right. Okay, if I don't feel like I got good enough pressure on there somewhere, and that's one of the reasons I absolutely love the Stamparatus. I can keep doing that over and over again. If I felt like I really needed to, see this little bitty dot right there? Little bitty spot. So I can press again really good on that particular spot. Well, it's still not being good, so I'm going to re-ink just that little corner. And press again, and there we go. Oh shoot, you know what I didn't do? We're gonna have to start over. I did mess up, and the reason I messed up is because I moved that paper before I pulled the stamp pad or the Stamparatus over. Totally my fault. It was not the fault of the Stamparatus. Okay, give that in there. Again, I want, oh, that's hard to pick up. 2 down, 2 across. Put that on there. Ink up my stamp pad, or ink up my stamp with the ink pad. You know, it's English, right? Okay. Everything is positioned right. Give it a good press. There we go. Lift up. Didn't get a good impression here. So again, I'm going to lift it up. Make sure that everything is still in the same position. Give it a good press. You know, sometimes give it a good press with your arm or your fist. Okay. Nice. Very nice. All right, so I'm going to pull that off. Now my card base is done. The next thing I need to do is either my Daffodil Delight on Daffodil Delight, which I've already done, or my white piece. Now, honest to goodness, let me show you this one. It doesn't necessarily match up exactly, and that's okay for this card. Okay, so I'm not gonna put it in the same place, but what I am gonna do is put it over here, and you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna ink it up first. There we go, inked it up. Now I'm gonna put my card on here, right about there, and I'm gonna bring the base over so that it doesn't move as I roll it, and then I'm going to give it pressure. There we go. Lift it up. If I needed to ink it again, it hasn't moved, but it looks pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to lift it up without getting the extra ink on my hands, because I don't want to transfer that to the card. And actually, I'm going to use a little bit of a wipe. There we go. Okay, but I want to clean the stamp set with this. This is my chamois, and I'm just going to wipe it down really good. If it were a smaller stamp, I would just bring the stamp to the chamois rather than taking the chamois to the stamp. Does it matter? Probably not, but there you go. All right, so now I believe I have, no, I don't have everything ready. Now what I want to do is take my, I am going to do thanks, and I got that from the Artistically Inked stamp set, and I am going to say thanks so very much, and I got that from Plentiful Plants. These 3 stamp sets I am using with somewhat of a series, and I'm loving it. So, Plentiful Plants, let's pull out, oh, I already pulled out so very much. I think I have it here somewhere. May. Thought I had it out. Okay, I'm going to stamp thanks in the Just Jade, and I am looking for so very much. I already pulled it out. Now what did I do with it? That would be the question. I may just leave it off for now and show you what it's going to look like. So, should I use Daffodil Delight on, let's put it on our card. Daffodil Delight on basic white, or should I use Daffodil Delight on Daffodil Delight? I am not sure what appeals to you. That's the nice thing about making your cards, is you get to decide what works for you. All right, so I am going to pull out thanks and put it on my block, and my Just Jade, and stamp that, or ink that up. And because I've got this a little high on there, you know what, because I can't find my so very much at the moment, I think I'm just going to put it in the middle. There we go. Give that a good press. Ta-da! Very nice. You know what? It's not very nice. I'm going to turn that over and do it again. It's the awesomest thing. Paper has 2 sides. They are trying to come out with an invention for 3-sided paper. I'm just telling you. Okay, so I'm kidding. Give it a good press. Whoops. And take, much better, much better. Nice. So, where did my, oh, here it is. Block. I'll clean that off. There we go. Very nicely done. Put it back in my stamp set. Oh, as I get ink. Silly girl. Silly girl. That's why you close those things, right? Okay. And put my thanks back in there. Very good. Close that up. And now on this end, I am going to put a flag, or make it a flag. And so I like this particular stamp or block, Hello Punch. Okay, the name of it is slipping my mind here a minute, but we'll get it in just a sec. So to use it, when you get it, it's going to come like this. It's all closed up. To open it, you have got it held. You're going to unlock it and then let it pop out. Then I like to use the bottom so that I can see what I'm looking at. And I want to get it lined up as good as I can. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. Okay, about there. Once I've decided, if I close it just a little bit and then pop it, but if I close it just that little bit, what I was trying to say is it will hold it and it's not going to fall out on you. and reposition itself. Okay, then to close it, I push the whole thing closed and pull the lock on it. All right, so did we decide? I think I'm going to go ahead with this one. I'm going to put some adhesive on here, adhesive of choice. Woohoo. And it doesn't matter because it's square. Both of them are square. So it doesn't matter which direction you go. You just want to be as even as you can once it's on there. This one I am going to pop up with dimensionals. So I am going to put a dimensional in the corners-ish. You know, in Alaska we use ish time. That's what I tell my guests. I'm a tour guide up here. Okay. So if you punch in the middle of that, it'll pop up the edge, and they come up fairly easily. They come up easily anyway, but that's just an added bonus. Okay. Then I am ready to put this on here. I'm going to line it up. Now, notice the difference here. On this one, I lined up the edge with the white, the basic white piece. On this one, I'm going to go out to the edge of the Just Jade piece. Does it matter? No. It's personal preference. Whatever works for you. Okay, then I am again going to put my adhesive of choice and lay it on. And again, I kind of want to have a little bit even all the way around. The nice thing about your liquid adhesive is that it will let you move it. The bad thing is it will let you move it. So easy, easy card. I could have done this in just a very few minutes. I think I put the thanks upside down. The one that that I messed up on. Doesn't really matter. But this one I did so very much in Pale Papaya. Goes very nicely with the Daffodil Delight. But who knows what I've done with my stamp set for the moment. So, does it matter? You know, the person who gets this one is not going to know that so very much should have been on there. And truthfully, I might be able to slip that on there. Doesn't really matter. Okay, there we go. What do you think? Did you like these cards? Very, very easy to do. I could do these in a few minutes if I needed to send out a quick thank you card. Let me pull this down so that we can see everything. If you are putting an order in the next couple of weeks or so, this is July, before, about July 20th, this is the host code to use. If you need help on how to use that host code, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. If you would give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this card and would like to check out the rest of the videos, then be sure and subscribe. And next to that subscribe button is a bell. If you will ring that bell or click on it and select all, then you will get notifications when I produce new videos. Thank you so much. Have a great time wherever you are, and I would love to see examples of the cards you make. If you go out to Facebook, Stampin' with Patricia, and post any of the cards you've made, that would be super awesomely wonderful. Thank you so much. Have a good one.